Hi, this is Jack from Maths Forge, and in today's lesson, we're going to be doing share in a ratio reverse. So let's take a look at our first example. Here we're being told that money is shared in the following ratio, 3 to 5 to 4. The first amount is £27. What is the third? So you should know from sharing ratios that when you want to break up a number, the total amount, into a ratio, you first begin by adding the numbers in your ratios together. So it's going to be 3 plus 5 plus 4, which gives us a value of 12. Now this value here is what you're going to be breaking up the total amount by. So we don't know what the total amount is. Let's just call it X. But we do know that when we take this total amount and break it up by 12, we can then take this value here, the total amount broken up by 12, and multiply it onto each part of the ratio to get each corresponding value. Well, here they're telling us the first amount is £27. So when we take this x over 12 here and multiply it by 3, we should get £27. Now they're asking us for the third amount. So this value here, x over 12, which is what we multiply into each part of the ratio when we're looking for the value, when we take it and multiply it onto the third value of the ratio here, 4, it should give us the third amount. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing we have to find is, what is this x over 12? And we can do this by rearranging for it in this equation here. So to rearrange for x over 12, I'm going to divide both sides of this equation by 3, since there's a times by 3. So I'm going to do divided by 3 and divided by 3. This now gives us the following. X over 12 is equal to 9, because of course 27 divided by 3 is 9. So now that we know what x over 12 is equal to, it's equal to 9, we can use this in this calculation here to find out what the third value is. So x over 12, which is 9, I'm going to multiply this by 4, and this is going to give us 36. So our third value should be £36, and if we check our answer, there it is. We'll do another one-star example. Here the ratio is 3 to 4 to 4. The first amount is £39. What is the third amount? So remember, we begin by adding the numbers in the ratios together. So 3 plus 4 plus 4, and this is going to give us 11. We then take the total amount, which we don't know what it is in this case, and we just call it X. But we do know that when we break this total amount by 11 and then multiply it onto each part of the ratio, we get the amount that we're looking for. So in this case, the first amount is £39. So when we take this total amount divided by 11 and multiply it by the first number in the ratio 3, we get the first amount, which is £39. So when we take this total amount over 11 and multiply it by the third number in the ratio, 4, we should get the third amount. But in order to get this value here, we first need to know what this total amount x divided by 11 is. What's the value of it? And we do this by manipulating this equation here. So to find out what x over 11 is, I need to get rid of this times 3 that's attached to it. And to get rid of a times by 3, we're going to divide by 3 on both sides of this equation. This now leaves us with the total amount over 11, which is equal to 13, because of course 39 divided by 3 is 13. So now that we know our total amount over 11 is equal to 13, we can substitute it into this equation here to find out what the third amount is. So x over 11 is 13. I'm going to write down 13 here. And if we multiply it by 4, which is the third number in the ratio, we should get our third amount. And 13 times 4 is 52. So the third amount should be £52. And if we check our answer, there it is. Now let's do a 2-star example. Here we're being told that the money is shared in the following ratio, 4 to 5 to 3. The second amount is £50. What is the total amount? So we first begin by adding the numbers in our ratios together. So it's going to be 4 plus 5 plus 3, which is equal to 12. We then take the total amount which we're looking for. We don't know what it is. Let's call it x. And we divide it by this 12 here. And then we can multiply this value here onto each part of the ratio to find out each corresponding amount. But in this case, they've told us that the second amount is £50. So if I take this total value divided by 12 and multiply it onto the second number in the ratio, which is 5, we end up with £50. Now here they're asking for the total amount, and don't forget, we've said that x is our total amount. So this just becomes a matter of solving this equation for x to find the total amount. We have a times by 5 here, so the first thing I'm going to do is divide by 5 on both sides. This now gives us x over 12, which is equal to 50 divided by 5, which is 10. Now to find the total amount x, there's a divided by 12 attached to it. So I'm going to detach it by multiplying by 12 on both sides of this equation. This now leaves us with x, which is equal to 120. So our total amount is £120. And if we check our answer, there it is. Okay, now let's do a 3-star example. Here we're being told that money is shared in a ratio. The second amount is £70, so I'm going to set up a ratio here. The second amount is 70, and the third amount is 42. Okay, so we're missing the first amount. And they're telling us that the total is 140. Then they ask us to find the ratio. So I know that if I add all of the numbers up in my ratio together, with this question mark, which is the first value, and we don't know what it is, but if we add it to 70 and if we add it to 42, we get the total amount, which is £140. So now we can find out what this first amount is simply by adding 70 and 42 together, which gives us 112, and then subtracting 112 from both sides of this equation to find out what the first value is. Doing this, we get the first value to be £28. So now that we know what all of the amounts are, so the first one is 28, the second one is 70, and the third one is 42, we can go ahead and find the ratio. Now, you might think this is what the ratio is, but we have to simplify it fully to get the final version of the ratio. I can see here that I can divide all of the numbers in this ratio by 2, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide each value in this ratio by 2. This is now going to give us 14 to 35 to 21. And I can see here that we can divide this ratio by another amount. This is not fully simplified. The highest common factor here is 7. So I'm going to go ahead and divide every single part of this ratio by 7. This now leaves us with a ratio of 2 to 5 to 3. And this cannot be simplified further, so this must be our ratio. And if we check our answer, there it is. And that's it for the lesson on sharing ratios in reverse.